2015, an elite DFS Army Commando unit formed to bring high-level DFS strategy to the masses. Today, hated by DFS sharks and lineup sellers alike, they continue their quest to turn Joe into DFS pros.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is your DFS Army Daily Dispatch brought to you by DFSArmy.com. And I am your host today, the no longer frustrated Boomer's Daddy. Joining me is Shy. Shy, I'm actually surprised you could join me today.
Why is that?
Because of the absolute colossal mess up I made yesterday.
Well, I mean, onwards and upwards, right?
Yeah, because the pod yesterday was gold.
It was, yeah. We did some good work. I agree.
So we got a tough act to follow, but we're going to follow it up. We're going to get you through all the good stuff today, making sure that you are prepared for tonight's 7-game slate. I almost said monster slate, but it's really not a monster slate. It's kind of light for a Wednesday.
Yeah.
NBA has done us a due diligence and spread out the work all weekend or all week long, so it's going to have fun. It's going to be fun. Wow. Browns. Wow. Okay.
Now what?
They have named former NFL QB Ryan Lindley as their running backs coach.
Oh boy.
So, all right. So I got 7 games to go through here. Got some good ones. Got some funny situations that we're going to have to discuss here. Let's go through some of the outs here real quick and the information. Anthony Davis is a game-time decision. That literally just came through. He did go through shoot-around this morning, so we'll see how that works. Jimmy Butler, not going to play, refusing to suit up, although the Timberwolves are playing it as a precautionary rest and relaxation day. We could all use some R&R in our job of getting paid $20 million a year, couldn't we?
I'll take a fraction of that all day long, and I'll work 7 days a week for that.
Yeah, exactly. So joining him on the bench is going to be Jeff Teague. That's going to give some bumps to some guys we're going to talk about pretty quickly off the top of our heads. I think that's really about it as far as the major guys that I can tell. We're still waiting word on Isaiah Canaan. Looks like that's about it. So outside of that, it's a pretty quiet day so far, knock on wood. So all right, so let's start off with point guards here. Up at the top, Steph Curry still can't crack 10K on Fanduel.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna have a lot of that guy today.
Yeah. That's gonna be a high scoring game.
High scoring game. He's a lot more than a scorer, as we know, although he's phenomenal at that too. Runs the offense. He's got so many weapons to pass to, rack up those assists. Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to play him. He'll be pretty high ownership. Expect that, but pretty. I'll be in that pool for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to have a lot of him. I'm going to have more of one of his running mates tonight. Not a ton more, but I am still going to have more. And I'll kind of give you a clue on who here in a little bit.
Sure.
It's not hard to figure out. I mean, he goes by the nickname Cupcake, so.
Yeah.
After Steph, it kind of drops off. Not a little bit, a lot of it.
Yeah.
You know, you've got Jamal Murray as the next highest price point guard.
Yeah. Versus a team that just gave up the all-time record to three-pointers to Klay Thompson, the Bulls. at home in Chicago. The Bulls just don't defend. I mean, it's just the way it is. I mean, I don't mind even pairing a lot of these two. You and I spoke about it earlier this morning about, Coach Mike Malone saying that he wants to run him a little more at the shooting guard. We both know he can really shoot. And that's the same spot that Klay Thompson just blew up on as at the shooting guard. So a lot to like about the matchup.
Yeah. There is a lot to like about that matchup tonight. We know that he can get hot. It's one of those things that we've got to, pay attention to how they're running their rotations. He's going to run some of the 1. He's going to run some of the 2. And why not? Yeah. We're not really worried about, anybody on the Bulls playing any sort of defense. So, I don't know, man. It's one of those nights where I feel like you don't have to pay up completely at point guard. You can stick right there in the middle tier and at least on FanDuel and be fine because you can pay up other spots. You can pay up for Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, Nikola Jokic is on the slate. He is. You can pay for all 3 of those and you can kind of punt or play the mid-tier of the point guard position, and I think you can be all right. But like you said, I think that's going to be the kind of the default roster construction on a lot of people. So I think in order to get a little creative, you can go with a Steph Jamal or something along those lines, and really, really kind of differentiate yourself as far as roster construction is concerned tonight.
Yeah, I think you're going to see. You're going to see a lot of Tyus Jones, kind of locked in there at minimum price at over 30 minutes. I think you might be able to get away in some tournaments because of that.
Let's talk about Tyus Jones here for just a second, okay?
Yeah.
Initial projections updated without Jimmy Butler has him sitting right there around 32 minutes. I don't think that's a stretch. I think I don't want to say blowout proof, but I think he's going to play around 30 minutes.
Oh, yeah. He plays for Thibodeau, so.
Yeah. If Isaiah Canaan's out, then you're going to see a lot of Onodububi. I don't even know how to say that guy's name. Onunwi.
I don't know who does he play for?
Phoenix.
Oh.
Akobo. I mean, come on.
I had no idea what you were trying to pronounce.
Eli Akobo.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. When Kanan went out with the ankle injury against the Thunder, he played 30 minutes, put up 31.5 fantasy points. He's still min-price. And this is what I'm talking about. And, I mean, you could legit pump both point guard spots with Tyus Jones and, Akobo. Even if Cannon plays, I think you could still pump both of them and spend up elsewhere.
Yeah.
It's just, value opened up, and it opened up pretty quick. And I might not fight it a lot tonight. I'm not saying that Steph's not a bad play or not a good play, because obviously he is. He's Steph Curry. I mean, come on. But I think so. I hear what you're saying, and I agree in cash games. But looking at this tournament wise, I particularly if Anthony Davis plays, the game will be a lot closer than I think a lot of people may expect. It seems to me like the Pelicans, they keep on winning, and nobody expects them to win these big games, and they just continue to. Oh, I agree, 100%.
So I think I don't know what the lack of respect, where it comes from, what it's about, but they're a really damn good team.
Yeah.
So they might even be top 3 in the West right now.
Yeah,
when you look at, I don't mean record. I don't mean record wise. I mean as far as the actual team, because Houston's obviously struggling. The only team not really struggling now is Golden State. I I can't say Sacramento's going to be there long term. They're there now. They're playing well, off to a good start, but they'll drop eventually. The Pelicans are the real deal, and they're deep, and they're quick, and they're skilled. So this game will be relatively close. I mean, it's not going to be 90-50 like it was versus the Bulls.
No.
So at the half. So I think if I'm going to get 4 quarters of Steph Curry, like the full allotment of his minutes in this paced matchup, in tournaments, I'm going to lock it in. Like I don't like where else can you get that ceiling? And that night.
There's 2 other players on the team that you could get it from.
At the point guard spot.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
At the point guard spot on the slate. So, and also another thing, the day that that Bulls game where they did blow him out and embarrass them, and Clay hit his record, Steph still put up over 50 points.
Yeah, he did. And
if that game was remotely close, the guy puts up 80. I mean, he's out of his mind now. And that kind of a ceiling, I can't fade in tournaments.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you 100%. It's one of those things like, you've got to make a decision. I think you can obviously bring Anthony Davis back with, Kevin Durant. And, I don't know if I want to go to Klay Thompson right out of the gate.
Right.
I might wait a game, let everybody kind of chase it. Not saying that Klay's not a bad play, but one of these two is going to see a lot of Drew Holiday.
Yeah, I'm thinking it might be a little bit of Steph, but again, it's going to be the same situation where Drew's going to be running the point guard again, and it's just that Steph does so much that he can still hit his ceiling.
Yeah, I mean the Warriors know how to get their guys open.
Yeah, and the way the ball moves and the way they set screens, and not worried about it. Okay, So that's my love fest for Steph. Who else are we looking at here?
Okay, so I want to ask you about Dennis Smith Jr. Okay, kind of talked about it the other night. Lonzo Ball didn't have the best energy. He admitted so. He said that he needed to have that energy. We're both agreement that Rondo's kind of in his head. He's looking over his shoulder a little bit. I want him to not look over his shoulder because Rondo's kind of a different kind of player. I think a lot of it has to do with it's not that he doesn't know how to work off the ball, because he worked off the ball a lot at UCLA. It's more of the fact that he hasn't quite found his rhythm with LeBron on the court at the same time.
Yeah.
I was looking at the numbers the other day. With him and LeBron on the court, they're actually worse offensively than if those two guys play by themselves. Did that make sense?
Yeah. The way I look at it is it's actually twofold. The first way I look at it is it's going to take about 20 games for this to gel. So, I'm not too worried about it. Second thing I'm looking at is it's almost like when LeBron sits is when Zoe should be getting his minutes. Because for the reasons you said, right? I mean, he needs the ball.
Then you're only playing Lonzo like 20 minutes a game.
Yeah, no, I get that, but I'm not saying only when he sits because.
You're talking about the majority of his minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, so he gets those 20 and his other, 18 or whatever, 12, 15, whatever they are, will be with him, and I'm fine with that.
Gotcha.
But I think that's where we can see him do a little bit more.
Okay. Yeah, I could definitely see that. I think it would work better. The main the main thing that I had with this is this kind of takes me off of Dennis Smith Jr. a little bit, because now Lonzo has basically called himself out and said that he was going to okay, Luke Walton's not changing his lineup. Just that's why I paused there for a second. He needed to bring more energy.
Did Kuzma start though?
Yeah, he started the last game.
Okay.
Hart went to the bench.
Yeah.
That he's got to bring more energy, and bringing more energy on defense and he said not even on the offensive side of the ball, it's got to stay on the defensive side as well. means bad things for Dennis Smith. And then you back that up with he could end up seeing Josh Hart as well. I mean, you're not going to waste Josh Hart on Wesley Matthews the whole game. So I'm not so sure if I like Dennis Smith tonight.
Yeah, I mean, they just go so small. Obviously, you've got DJ, but then everybody else is pretty much a guard. I mean, I know Harrison Barnes is really a small forward, but with Doncic and Matthews and DSJ, I mean, you might see Hart on any one of those three guys.
Yeah.
So it just depends on kind of the way they want to do it, and I think you're going to see he's probably going to go Ingram on Doncic because of height. And then, or I mean, it could be Kuzma. I mean, that makes sense too. But yeah, it's gonna be tough to. I mean, so what I'll have to do at some point here before we give our VIPs our VIP notes, because I'm looking at kind of how these two teams match up. But you know, looking back, obviously it's going to be a lot of JaVale on DeAndre Jordan. We'll get to those two in the center spot. But Kuzma on Doncic. LeBron on Harrison Barnes, Ingram on Matthews, and yeah, it's going to be Lonzo on Dennis Smith Jr. But I mean, look, the thing that's so different about this NBA that has been in any seasons past is, with a few exceptions, I mean, guys are going to get to their spots. The teams are going to get them to their spots. They're going to get open. What I look for is pace. I look for totals. I look for a close game, and this game kind of checks all of those boxes. Second highest total on the slate, next to the two fastest teams in the league, Golden State and Pelicans. You know, this game is only 2 points lower. It's a closer spread than that game is. I mean, 233?
No, 234.5. The Golden State total went up.
Oh, wow.
After shoot around, it went up a point. It's now 237.5.
Somebody likes Davis. What about the spread? Is it still 10?
10.5 now.
Interesting. So the totals went higher and the spread went higher.
Yeah.
Interesting. So yeah, I mean, I'm not shying away from him. I'm still going to have a decent amount of him.
I think he's okay for cash games. I just don't think that he can test that ceiling in tournaments facing those guys. That's my whole thing. I mean, that's not an easy matchup. It actually makes me wonder if I like guys like Doncic or Harrison Barnes a little bit more.
For me, it's Doncic, because the one thing about Kuzma is he's not the best defender yet. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good advantage to him. Harrison Barnes is, I mean, frankly, he's always in play, man. I mean, he's really the veteran. Now, obviously, DJ is too, but he's really the vet on that team. If you look at that lineup, obviously Matthews is also as well. But in terms of like, just his consistency, I think Harrison Barnes is also a fine cash play because he's going to get his minutes. He's going to get his stats. He's a guy that I'm looking to see his ceiling here. So I know we'll get to we're not at small forward yet, but I'm looking to see what his ceiling looks like this season because he's still coming off, his injury kind of work. I mean, he's still playing enough, but he's coming off working out those kinks. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But
yeah,
I'm not shying away from Dennis Smith.
Okay. All right, let's talk about this situation here. We kind of touched on it a little bit. I'm seeing a lot of Derrick Rose love. He's obviously going to get, a little bit more usage, and he's going to have to put up more shots now with Jimmy Butler and Jeff Teague out. I don't know, man. It gives me a bad taste in my mouth to think that Derrick Rose could be chalky tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. He's going to be chalky. We know that. I think. He's still. Well, let me rephrase that. He's not priced down anymore, right?
No,
so
he's not. He's not a secret.
He's up there now. I think you're probably going to see a lot more Tyus Jones. than you are Derrick Rose. I think. Look. So when you look at from a FanDuel perspective, we already know that there's one of your lowest scores going to be dropped. So if you put in a guy that's playing 30 minutes, regardless of how horrible this matchup is, if you're putting in a guy at minimum price that's going to play 30 minutes, why the hell not, right?
Yeah.
The only thing I can see is if you just are like insanely in love with the ceiling of two other point guards there. Cool, I get it. You don't want to punt there because you like too much what you see. I can understand that, but it's about as safe a play as you can have on FanDuel.
Yeah, exactly, and it's not like he's expensive on DraftKings at all either.
Yeah, it shouldn't be.
Hold on, I'm pulling it up. Let's see here. So the Tyus Jones is 3,400 on DraftKings. So Derrick Rose is a little bit more affordable over there. He's 49. But Tyus Jones, man, $3,400. Yeah, it's almost even against Utah. I was trying to get our VIPs to think a little bit more. They were talking about, just kind of locking people in. And I'm like, okay, guys, you do realize that Utah's still a really good defensive team. And I wanted them to kind of think a little bit, like think. I don't like to just, give out player A or player B. None of us do. We like to have you think, because if you can, teach a man a fish and feed him for a lifetime, give a man a fish and feed him for a day. I don't. Okay, so Crowder and Favors are both active, just to throw that out there.
Yeah.
I don't think that Derrick Rose is just a auto lock or plug and play, just because some guys are out. I don't think that his role is going to change too much because they don't need it to.
Right.
They can throw in a Kogi. Tyus Jones was already starting anyways, but if Wiggins is back, then you could throw Jones at the 1 and Wiggins at the 2, Kogi at the 3.
Sure.
You got Gibson at the 4 and Cat at the 5.
Right.
And you don't have to change Derrick Rose's. And so that's not, if that's what ends up playing out, I don't think that's chalk I want to eat.
I don't disagree at all. I mean, again, it's just to kind of reiterate something else there. That's very much a tournament, play, because again, we know that the ownership's going to be there. It just is. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, it's something that you've got to really, really think about when you're looking at these things. So I just can't do it. Maybe something changes later in the day, and if it does, we'll let the VIPs know. But as of right now, I'm not eating Derrick Rose chalk. So, okay, let's talk about a couple other point guards here before we move on. Ish Smith, man, he's looked good. He's no longer a secret. He's 4,600. He's not expensive, but I think he holds weight in tournaments.
Who? Sorry, I missed that. Say again.
Ish Smith.
Yeah.
I mean, I think especially going against Brooklyn. I mean, the last up and pace team that they kind of faced was Philly, and he almost put up 30. He's 46. I don't think that you need to go balls to the wall on him, but he's got some tournament appeal to me.
Yeah, I mean, also keep in mind he's been running the 2 guard a lot.
Yep.
So that's a lot of why you see what you see there. So certainly not something I'm against. He's still pretty cheap as well. So I'm good with that.
Okay, and then the last guy I wanted to talk about was Darren Collison. Going up against the New York Knicks. He's 5,300.
What are you thinking?
I don't know. I was kind of hoping that you would point me in the right direction. He intrigues me, but that was before the Jimmy Butler news. I might still have a sprinkle or two, but I don't know if I can.
What's taking you off? I mean, help me understand.
It's just now the price and the availability that I've got cheaper guys.
Gotcha.
So, because originally in my build I had Steph and Collison. And now I'm kind of like, I can go get Tyus Jones. I can eat that chalk. He's min price, and I can go anywhere. I can go other places.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of places you can go. We could look at Bryn Ford's, super cheap. I mean, Patty Mills, super cheap. I mean, there are a lot of places you can punt Ryan RCD Akono if you think Denver blows him out and he'll get some more run. I mean, there's all Corey Joseph is super cheap. I mean, there's a lot of places you can go today. So I wouldn't, force yourself to punt here. But if you had to, there's a lot of choices here you can pick from.
Yep, absolutely. All right, let's move on to the shooting guard position. Got two guys up at the top here I want to talk about real quick. DeMar DeRozan, Victor Oladipo. I like them both. I can't say anything bad about either one of them. They're going to handle the ball. They're going to contribute on, in the assist category. We've talked about DeMar DeRozan. He's 9,700. I think that 10K, a little bit over 10K, is the threshold. But going against Phoenix tonight, it's hard not to like what he's done.
Yeah. We talked about it the other night, right? He's their point guard. I mean, basically, so he's kind of like a cheat code. So, the only concern here, obviously, is the game at a hand, which is always a concern. It looks like it's only a 7-point favor for the Spurs, so nothing crazy. But who the hell's going to guard him? I mean, you might have some Josh Jackson on him, but I'm not scared of that. So, but he's now been priced up to where he's no longer an easy plug-in anymore.
No, FanDuel got smart real quick.
So just keep that in mind. And I mean, if you want to go up to some of these other spots, we like a lot. But so because of his price, you might not see as much ownership on him.
Yeah, DraftKings got smart too. They put him at 9,500. So now the price discrepancy is going to be with Victor Oladipo. He's 94 on FanDuel and 86 on DraftKings. I think he's in a great spot again. I like the ping pong action of Victor Oladipo and Tim Hardaway Jr.
Yeah, I like both of those as well. I think a little bit shying away from Hardaway because he'll probably have some depot on him. Considering in that lineup, he's now the.
I didn't even think about that.
He's now the only real offensive threat on that team. So that's a little bit concerning. But outside of that, I mean, yeah, I think I might want to go Clay for cheaper. But
yeah, you can go Clay for cheaper. You could go a couple other spots as well. Okay, so Drew Holiday, obviously, he's in play.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be the guard. He's going to see a little bit of Klay Thompson, who's not a bad defender, but with Anthony Davis back, then it's not a bad option either. Donovan Mitchell. I mean, these guys are all in good matchups, guys.
Yeah.
Luka Doncic. We talked about he's going to see a little bit of Josh Hart, a little bit of Lonzo Ball, probably depending on how they work their screens and get the Lakers to switch a little bit. The guy I do have interest in is Gary Harris, though. And you can tell me if I'm off base for this. He's 7,400 on FanDuel. He is 69 on DraftKings. But, I mean, I'm not expecting Klay Thompson to come out of this. But,
Right.
He's in a good spot.
He's in a good spot. He's as you know, he's one of my favorite players. All the time.
And he contributes he contributes all the way around. It's not just with.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he sure does. I mean, he'll probably be on Levine a ton, which is why we're not talking about him as much. But I mean, he'll have Levine on him, so we're talking about him. So,
yep.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty good spot there.
Okay, so Josh Okogie, he's going to get the start with Butler out. He's 4,600 on FanDuel. We've seen this spot before. We've seen him excel. Justin Holiday is probably going to see a combination of Jamal Murray. I think Justin Holiday's in a good spot. I don't think that he's necessarily... I mean, I'd much rather play Josh Okogie over him. I'd rather play Wesley Matthews over him.
Yeah.
But he's going to be low owned, and he has the ability to go for 30, 35.
Yeah.
So
true.
I did want to mention him as of right now. And I think... he's only 4,500 on DraftKings, so that's probably where I would get my exposure. Okay. Now I get to tease you a little bit.
I'm ready.
Monty Morris.
Man, he's been in all my builds.
Really?
Yeah, so what we always tell our VIPs to do and what we do ourselves is we like to game theory lineups, right? So what I'll do sometimes is, and we don't predict blowouts, but there's sometimes where you're kind of like, that doesn't look very pretty. I don't see how this Bulls team really fully keeps up with these Nuggets. That's number one. Number two, they're not a very big team, right? I mean, they've got some bigs, but as far as like they're going to have with Payne and Levine and Holiday, they're going to be moving up and down a lot. And I think this is the kind of game where Mike Malone's going to want to go a little bit smaller. You might even see a little bit more Trey Lyles, which we'll talk about as he's in my player pool today. And, he's also said, he being the Nuggets coach, Malone said that Monty Morris is their only true point guard, and he wants to see Morris and Jamal Murray on the court together with Murray playing the two. And so, again, if ever a team to experiment against,
this is the one to do.
The Bulls are the team. So I think you're going to see a few more minutes from Monty Morris. And, I mean, we've seen what he did against the Lakers. He's a baller. I mean, I like to play a lot.
Yeah, I don't think that they fully trust him completely in bigger games, but this obviously isn't a big game. So right. I think this could be kind of the coming out party, and we're definitely going to jump on it a lot sooner than most of the industry is. So we good at the two? I know we didn't hit on a lot of the matchups for the top tier guys, but that's just because they're all in pretty good matchups.
Yeah. So I mean, there was one more that I like.
Okay.
I do want to talk about Josh Hart a little bit. So because he's no longer with the starters, he's been priced way down. Was he at like 7K at one point? Do you remember?
I thought he was getting up. I thought he was approaching the 65, 7K mark.
Yeah. So he's now 45 on FanDuel today. I mean, he's still going to play a decent amount of minutes, considering, you're probably going to see a lot of DeAndre Jordan and then some Dwight Powell, maybe some Maxi Kleba, along with their guards. I mean, I think Hart, he might not get all 30, but he could get into the 28-minute range at that price, at this pace, versus a not very good defensive team. A game that's going to be a lot of running, and he's a really good rebounding guard and a really good fill-in-the-lane guard for LeBron to pass to. I kind of like Josh Hart, too.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. He's active. He plays with his hair on fire, and he's got upside, especially at that price. So yeah, I can get behind it. All right, let's talk about small forwards here. And guys, just a reminder, we're using FanDuel position eligibility to kind of keep it because of the multi-position eligibility over there on DK. If we do like a DK play, then obviously we'll talk about it. But most of the FanDuel or most of the position eligibility is based off of the FanDuel and how they're running it. So LeBron James, 12-4 against Dallas. I can't do it.
Yeah, he's expensive. I mean, I'll have some exposure, but nothing crazy.
Yeah. Kevin Durant, he's the guy I'm going to have more of than Clay. It's not going to be, or Clay, than Steph. It's not going to be a ton, but it is going to be a little bit. You know, Steph's had his game. Clay's had his game. Durant had his game in Madison Square Garden, but
Yep, he did.
you know, I compared Durant and Draymond up together. I can afford both him and Anthony Davis, and probably Nikola Jokic if I want to get daring and punt both point guard spots tonight. So that's why I was kind of talking a little bit about, you know, you can, if the news breaks right, you can actually pump both point guard spots because you do have the ability to go get, you know, Durant, Davis, and Jokic all in the same lineup if you do that.
Right.
So just a little bit of roster construction there for everybody, just so you knew. Mirotic. He's a guy I can't get my hand around because he's going to see a lot of Draymond Green tonight.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think you have to have some kind of exposure. I don't know. I mean, in a game this pace, in a game with this much scoring, they're gonna need him to score. I mean, you might even see him to say, you know what, Steve Kerr, I got AD, and he slide over to AD. It could be, assuming he plays. So that's something we might even see. Obviously, huge size advantage, but never deterred Draymond before. So that's something to think about too. That's why I'll have some exposure. I don't know if I'm going, you know, heavy on a $7,700 Mirotic when he might face a lot of Draymond.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to go heavy there. It's just not something I'm probably going to do. I would much rather pair up Drew and AD together rather than Mirotic.
Yeah, those are the spots for sure.
So that's probably where I'm sticking right there on the Pelicans. It's very, very, very tough for me to sit there and think that, okay, I can go play a Mirotic or I can go get Joe Ingles at 61.
Yeah.
Or I can go get Jay Crowder at 49.
Okay.
Or a Bojan Bogdanovic at 45. Like, it's either Durant or it's all the way down. Like, I know Rudy Gay's crushed, but on FanDuel, I still can't pay $7K for him. Not in this matchup. Not with these guys on the slate.
Yeah.
So that's my whole thing there. Now, on DraftKings, you could sit there and say, well, he is 6,100, so he's a little bit more affordable over there. So you can definitely play him over there. Devin Booker and Isaiah Kanan are both out. Josh Jackson is probable. So that just upgraded the Okubu. Why can't I say his name right?
I don't even know how to say it, so I'm guessing too. So
yeah. So Eli Okabu is now the flavor of the week as well with Tyus Jones. So
yeah.
You're not playing Chandler Hutchinson, are you?
No.
Okay. What about Mario Hezonja? He's gotten some run. He's going against Indy. They're not that great on the defensive end outside of Victor Oladipo. He's probably going to see a lot of Tyreek Evans, Bojan Bogdanovic. He's probably only going to play around 20 to 25 minutes, but I mean, he's 3,800. Do we just need to stop and not go there, considering all the value at other positions, and stop trying to force value?
I'm not going there. He just doesn't. He doesn't get enough minutes for me to want to play him. Again, there's so many plays around that price and other spots that are going to play a lot more. That you might as well. By the way, Booker and Kanan are officially out, and Jackson is now probable.
I just said that.
Yeah, something like that.
I literally just said that.
Sorry.
You're all right.
So another guy though here that we should probably talk about. We brought him up kind of in passing. That I'll have a little bit of interest in is going to be Trevor Ariza.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we didn't talk about him.
So now those guys are out. So there's two guys here that I'm looking at. The first one is Ariza. The second one is going to be TJ Warren. Probably wouldn't play both, but I don't mind playing one of the two. I think they both have upside. We've seen Warren put up a lot in a short period of time. Now that these guys are officially ruled out, we'll look and see what we're projecting his minutes to be. Obviously, he's not a guard, so it doesn't immediately affect him. But the Spurs are a fairly big team when they want to be, and so something to look at there. But I like those two guys for Phoenix. It's also a weak spot for the Spurs.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I like the TJ Warren play a little bit better than Trevor Ariza. Just because Warren's more of a scorer, he can do more off the ball, but I don't mind that at all.
Yeah.
So I think they're both in play. TJ Warren's a little bit more expensive. That's kind of why I think a lot of people are gonna, if they want value at this position, they're gonna kind of flock to the cheaper guy.
For sure.
So I might pay up just to. I mean, we're not talking about a major difference, but we're paying up a little bit just to be contrarian. So. All right, let's talk about power forwards here. Anthony Davis, the big key of the day. He's a game-time decision. We might not know before lock. I honestly think that Anthony Davis plays.
Yeah, so do I. We agree there.
Okay. LaMarcus Aldridge against Phoenix. He was in a great spot the other night. Didn't do so hot. Not really sure why or what happened. I did not get to watch a lot of that game. He's 8,500, but, man, it's hard to deny the spot.
So I watched the game. It was because DeRozan was just doing everything, man. I mean, sheesh. That's why. I'm playing a lot of Aldridge. I mean, he should really crush here. So I'm going to be playing a lot of Aldridge. By the way, it just announced that Okobo is going to be starting for Kanan. So, yeah, for me, Aldridge, smash spot, I'm going to have probably a ton of him.
Yeah, I am. It's hard not to. Yeah. It's hard not to like his spot. So, I definitely will. Definitely really do like him. Okay, so let's go with. We talked about Draymond Green. I love Draymond tonight. Blake against Brooklyn. I think he's going to be lower owned just because of the way that the chalk builds are kind of going right now.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't mind it at all.
I don't either. I actually like it a lot. I actually think. So here's what I've been doing lately that has been working pretty well. A lot of people tend to like to kind of pay down at power forward. And I get the reasoning behind it. I really do. More so when AD is not on the slate, right? Because that's a little bit different. And he is on the slate here. But if you wanted, with all of the value we're seeing here at the guard spots that we just talked at, every spot that we talked about, you can even stack Griffin and Aldridge if you wanted to, or like Aldridge and Draymond or something like that. I'm not against that. I think it'll be very contrarian in tournaments. I don't think we'll see a lot of those two together. I think you'll see a lot more go to Anthony Davis and, like a Noah Vonleh or, Josh Jackson in particular, that kind of thing. So, I kind of like that mindset there.
Yep, absolutely. Ingram or Kuzma?
Kuzma.
Yeah, I'll take the discount there too. You mentioned Noah Vonleh. Man, attacking Indiana with, I think it was Nurkic the other night, didn't work out so well. I forgot who it was.
I think that was more of him being a bonehead, and I think he's more of a bonehead than Vonleh is in terms of fouling.
Ah, that's true.
So just a thought there.
Okay, so Josh Jackson is probable. He's $3,700. He's going to play 25 minutes or so. He was a letdown the other night, but I don't mind going back to him here.
Yeah.
I want to. Okay, so a couple of the guys that I'm going to be looking at playing tonight, if my builds lead that way, Anthony Tolliver and Trey Lyles, and it's one of. Okay then. It's one of those things that I can't really put my finger on. I really like Trey Lyles tonight. I think he plays closer to 25 minutes rather than the 20. But with the bigs down there in mini against Utah, we know that Cat's probably going to be a pretty good option, even going against Rudy Gobert. But is it a Gorgie Jang night or is it a Anthony Tolliver type night? Knowing now that we know that Derek Favors is in.
I'm going to have a pretty decent amount of Lyles. It's still early, but I've got about 30% right now. And a lot of that is, again, we talked about the game theorying kind of thing. I mean, Chicago's just not a hugely sized team. I think I just made up a word there. Probably could have gone with Bigley, but he's going to play. He's been playing. Malone has said, look, we got to find this guy more minutes. He's a really good ball player, and when he gets out there, he's also hair on fire. I mean, the whole team is. I mean, they're just a fast-paced team, but. And if this game does get out of hand, I will say this. I don't know if I want to play him and Jokic together. I might. Maybe a little bit. But, that kind of thing. I mean, I'm going to have a lot of Lyles. So.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. I really do like Lyles tonight. I think he's a great play. I'll probably have more exposure to him than I will of Anthony Tolliver and Dang combined. So.
Samesies.
Yep.
I do want to bring up one more here that is really more of a large field tournament play, and it's really more of like a game theory play. But so let's think about this for a second. So Lakers Mavericks. The Lakers are a team that like to go small. In a certain scenario where they just sit McGee and they just go, Lonzo, Rondo, Hart, Ingram, Kuzma, or put LeBron in there for somebody else, whatever. You might see a pretty decent amount of either Dwight Powell or Max Kleber. Not that I'm playing either of them. I'm just talking about strictly scenarios here. They're both super, super, super dirt cheap. They could both very well find themselves in a small ball game playing 25 minutes. Kleber has the upside. We've seen him play 50, man. The guy, when he goes off, he goes crazy.
Yep.
And they're cheap enough to where if they dud, they'll just be dropped. Obviously, DK is a different situation there. The DK is more of like a 5% exposure thing if you're running a lot of lineups, but game theorying that one away.
Yeah, that's something that I see it. I don't know if I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I understand.
But I get the reasoning behind it.
Yeah.
So. All right, let's move on to the center position here, and then we will get out Nikola Jokic. I don't think that we need to go too deep into this one. He's good at basketball.
He's good at basketball, and here's something that's going to blow your mind. He's not my favorite center on the slate.
Oh, he's not mine either.
And he usually is.
Yeah, he's not mine either. Mine is down a little bit lower. Andre Drummond against Brooklyn.
I mean, you gotta love it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's always in play. Centers in general versus Brooklyn are always in play. Although Jared Allen has certainly improved, but at under 10K for Drummond, he's in a fantastic spot.
Yeah. Karl Anthony Towns gets a little bit of a price bump. He's 9K on FanDuel. He is a whopping 8,400 on DraftKings.
So here's the thing. So Towns is just coming off a massive explosion game versus my Lakers. where I completely X'd him out of the DS.
Oh, so did I.
I didn't win a damn thing because of it.
Yep.
He's been up against Rudy Gobert. Okay, I don't typically target any center going up against Rudy Gobert, particularly a guy that has a tendency to kind of fold. Under pressure, under intimidation. Happened to be from his own team this time, his own teammate this time. But I don't. There's not a lot I like about this Minnesota-Utah game, man. I know it's going to be a lot of buzz in the industry. I know all those value players are going to be chalked up everywhere. I think if I'm going to do some MME today, I might just go away from that game completely. Maybe some Gobert, but that's about it.
Yeah, I still like Tyus Jones and Okogie in
Sure.
that, in that matchup. But those are probably the only two Timberwolves I'm going to have. And I like, Lyles. I do like a lot of pieces of this game. None of them. I mean, I don't mind Rudy Gobert. He's $100 more. I think the ownership's going to kind of flock to Cat a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, if you tell me Cat's going to be single digits, then I might have more interest. But I think that, with Jimmy Butler out, people are going to chase that chalkiness and kind of be like that.
Right.
So yeah, depending on what the ownership projections kind of pop off, I might go there. So, all right. So DeAndre Ayton, he's 8,100. And yes, I know I just skipped over your guy.
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk about Ayton.
Why don't you take
first.
Ayton? You take Ayton, and I'll be right with you.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about Ayton first. He's going up against San Antonio. He's going to get a lot of guys like Pau Gasol, Jakob Poeltl. This dude has been a monster on the boards so far in his career. He's got career totals of 11, 14, 11, 10, 8. I mean, he averages at least 10 rebounds a game right now. He's going to play 30 minutes. This guy, he's still, in my opinion, still underpriced. Jakob Poeltl, Pau Gasol, whatever else, the LaMarcus Aldridge, whatever else the San Antonio Spurs want to kind of throw at them, I don't think that I have to worry about that so much.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
I really do like Ayton tonight. But like you said, DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah.
Does he go Oprah Winfrey on us tonight?
Oh man. Maybe.
2020.
I'm hoping. I mean, that's not Oprah Winfrey. It's
yeah, I just totally screwed that one.
Yeah. That's what's her name? Anyways, Diane Sawyer. Diane Sawyer? Whatever, we'll figure it out. So here's the thing. I think it's going to be really hard for me not to play him. I mean, there's just so much to like about the spot. I mean, I look at what centers that real true centers, right? Real centers that play mostly in the paint, what they've done against the Lakers, and I just don't see how you don't play him. He's cheaper than Cat, cheaper than Jokic, cheaper than Drummond, cheaper than Gobert. I mean, he's like the bottom price-wise. He's the bottom of the high-tier players, centers, and he's my favorite out of all of them. I mean, obviously he's Jokic is, but you're talking about a 2K difference in price, $2,100 difference in price. Actually, no, it's $1,900 in price. So, with a high risk of a blowout in that game for the Nuggets, and so I just think I'm probably gonna have a majority of DeAndre Jordan. The only thing I need to, and I'll use your help to see this, is what we think ownership will be on him versus others. Because if we think he's going to be 30%, then we might have to look at something else. But
yeah. Okay, so let's go to the other side of that matchup. JaVale McGee. He's shown that he can be a monster when given the minutes.
Absolutely.
Let's see here on DraftKings, he is a smooth 5,700.
Wow. Yeah, that's a fantastic play.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to bring him up. Even against DeAndre Jordan, he's at that price. He's still in play. So, I don't know. I kind of like it. Miles Turner against New York. It's not a bad idea.
I struggle with him.
Yeah, I can see him going off though. He's got tournament upside
for sure.
So,
Agreed.
Yeah. I don't. There's not a lot to love at the center position.
No.
Julius Randle, if you want to get creative, I think he can be in play today. I like him more on DraftKings.
Yeah.
Because you can play him at that power forward spot. Where did he go?
What do you mean? Price-wise?
He is 6,500. So he's just $100 less, but you're not taking up a center spot on DraftKings where you are on Fanduel. If you want to get crazy, you can go to him on Fanduel. But we've seen him have good games with Anthony Davis back. So
yeah. Well, here's another one for you.